3 things to do when you break no contact. Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about what to do when you break no contact. So I have 3 things for you that you can do to kind of rectify this problem if you do break no contact with someone that you are doing no contact with. So obviously if you break no contact, you can feel really, really bad about yourself because you're like, oh God, I can't believe I did it. I said I wouldn't contact them, but I couldn't help myself and I contacted them. So what can you do to rectify this situation? So the first thing that I want to talk about is apologizing to them. Now, of course, you don't need to apologize and say, sorry, I broke no contact, because obviously then they will find out basically what you've been doing and why you've not been contacting them. You know, they may even search up, perhaps they don't know about the no contact rule, and then you say to them, sorry for breaking no contact, and then they look it up and they know exactly what you're doing. Obviously, you don't want to do anything like that. You don't want to say anything like that. But what I do mean by apologizing is apologizing for doing whatever it is that you may have done. Like, for example, so you may not have actually done anything that needs an apology for. You might have just sent them a hey, how are you, or something like that. But if you did anything like beg with them, if you did anything like say something really immature to them, if you got angry with them, if you said something hurtful or did anything that made you look really, really weak, like for example that you begged or pleaded with them or something like that, then you need to apologize for acting this way. So the way that I would put it would be, I'm really sorry for X, Y, and Z, whatever you did, list what you did. I want to let you know that I respect the fact that you don't want to be with me. You're no longer interested in me. The reason why I did that was because I just got really emotional about the situation, but I just wanted you to know that this is not going to happen again. And you have my contact information if you ever want to speak with me. You want to say something along those lines. And then you want to stop, basically. You need to go into no contact again. But it's good to let them know, to be the mature one and admit to the mistakes that you have made. Especially if you were immature, especially if you were begging and pleading, or you said something that wasn't very nice to them, and you put a lot of feelings into what you said, basically, in the way that you broke no contact. So by apologizing for that and then bowing out and being very graceful about the situation, that will leave you in the best possible position for them to reach out to you, especially if you leave also in that message that they have your contact information if they ever want to reach out, if they change their mind about you or something like that. Now, obviously, like I said, you might not need to apologize. Perhaps you just said something simple like, hey, how are you? And they ghosted you or something. Now, if something like that happened, then you don't really need to do anything because you didn't put any emotions into it. You didn't say anything that, kind of warrants an apology, basically. You wasn't immature. You just simply broke no contact and basically asked them how they was. Or you may have just said something like hi or hello. So in that kind of situation, you don't need to apologize. The best thing for you to do is to just not send any more messages. So you've sent the hey, how are you? Perhaps it's been delivered or perhaps it hasn't been. Perhaps they've seen the message or they haven't seen it yet. So the best thing for you to do is not to send another message after you've sent the hey or the hey, how are you? Because, for whatever reason, they might be not wanting to reply just yet. They might reply in a few more days, or perhaps they'll reply to you in a few weeks. You don't know when you still might get a response from them, basically. Obviously, don't live in hope that you will. It's always best to assume that when someone dumps you, when someone breaks up with you, that they're never coming back. It's always best to assume that, because if you don't assume that and you live in hope that they are going to come back one day, then it's more likely that you're going to make more mistakes and it's going to be harder for you to move on, because of course there is a chance that they may never come back, and that choice and that possibility must always be in the forefront of your mind. Because if it's not, and you think that they might come back in the future, then it's going to prevent you from moving on. And you need to move on if you want to do no contact and walk away from them effectively. If you're enjoying the video so far, then please leave a like on it, and please do subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if there's anything you'd like me to discuss in a future video, then please leave it down in the comments. Or if you have any tips and advice yourself, thank you so much. So the next thing that you need to do is to get rid of the temptation so it doesn't happen again. So obviously, if you broke no contact, then you still have a lot of temptations around you that have made you break no contact. So you might need some time off of social media. Perhaps you need to get rid of any habits that you might have surrounding your ex. I think this is really important, and I talk about it quite often. And if you have if you're in no contact with someone, and you vow to not speak to them until they start speaking to you again, but you have a lot of habits surrounding your ex, like you checked when the last time it was when they were online, or you've got like a playlist of music that reminds you of them and you listen to that quite frequently. If you look through old photos, if you're analyzing old messages, trying to read into basically what they've said to you so you can kind of get any clues as to whether or not they're coming back. Like if you're doing a lot of things that are in a similar vein to that or things like that, then that's keeping you from moving on. And because you are doing lots of habits like that, it's more likely that you're going to make an emotional mistake. You're going to be listening to a song that reminds you of them one day, and you're going to break no contact because you get emotional after hearing the song and you can't help yourself. You have to send them a message. Or it could be a situation where you have been looking over the old messages that you two have been sending each other, and perhaps you read into something that they once said to you and you think that there's some hope, and so you reach out to them. So you could be doing a lot of stuff like that. So you want to avoid basically doing any of those old habits that are surrounded by that you do surrounding your ex. So in order to kind of stop yourself from doing that, you need to replace those habits with new ones. So let's say in the morning you always check your phone to see the last time your ex was online. So instead of doing that, do something else in that time. Perhaps you put on a YouTube video like this one, or perhaps you listen to some music that doesn't, remind you of your ex, or perhaps you you go for a run or something. Like you want to replace that habit with something different and something better for you. So it's really important that you get rid of those habits, but also replace them. Because if you don't replace them, there's going to be a void and you're going to want to fill it with something, and more likely you're probably going to slip back into those old habits. So you need to, because once you get rid of an old habit, there is a void, and so therefore you will need to fill it with something more, with something different. Basically, you'll need to fill it with something that isn't about your ex, but you obviously still want to be doing something so you don't fall back into the old habit of whatever it was, like checking their social media profiles and stuff like that. I highly recommend that you watch this video on walking away and no contact to help you through this process. So the last thing to do after you've done something like this and you've broken no contact accidentally, or you didn't mean to, but you got emotional and you couldn't help yourself, is to start developing a stronger discipline within yourself. Because obviously if you vowed to yourself that you wasn't going to do that, and you did do that, you relapsed and you did contact them, then you need to develop a stronger self-discipline within yourself. And I find the best ways to actually build self-discipline is by doing things like physical exercise. So let's say for the next few weeks you vow to go for a run each morning or something, or you do a workout video on YouTube, or you go to the gym. Perhaps you already have a gym membership, so you go to the gym more frequently. Basically start vowing to do certain things and do them. So that's what you need to do. So developing that stronger mindset by self-discipline. I highly recommend that you go and watch any videos by David Goggins, or get his book Can't Hurt Me or something like that, because he is really, really good at after I listened to his audiobook, I got so much better at self-discipline and stuff like that. So go and find people online who have really strong self-discipline and start doing some of the things that they have done, or start developing and adopting some of their mindsets, because that will help you become more emotionally strong, and it will stop you from going into those temptations and that temptation to talk to your ex and break no contact. Because what's important to know is, even though it's not really doing physical exercise and being disciplined in working out and exercising isn't necessarily related to your ex, but the thing is that if you become disciplined in one area, and you become really disciplined in one area, it starts to spread into other areas of your life. So if you start becoming consistent with exercise, it's more likely that you'll be consistent and more self-disciplined with other things as well. So that's just something that to keep in mind, and I hope it really helps you. So start developing that self-discipline, because if you develop it in one area, you're going to be more disciplined in other areas, and obviously at this current time you want to be disciplined in not contacting your ex. So I hope that's given you some ideas, some insights in what to do if you break no contact, and how to rectify the situation to get you back on track. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you would like coaching with me, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com to get a session with me. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye, guys.